Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, if you did not catch it, we had a pretty tough series with the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round, but we managed to be able to beat them in 7 games, but it took a little bit more luck than I would wanted because obviously we won the President's Trophy, and we should have definitely been able to cruise through them a lot easier, but this was a very tough series, as you can see, back and forth throughout the first 4 games of the series. Then they won 2 in a row technically to take a 3-2 series lead. We then had to win in overtime on a huge goal from, I think it was Ristolainen, if I remember right. It barely squeaked in because the goaltender decided to put his glove over the line, and it counted as a goal. So then we tied the series up heading to a Game 7 where we barely edged them out 5-3. So a very close series with a team that probably shouldn't have given us that much trouble. They did have a very good top line, but still, obviously, we had a way better season, so I expected us to beat them earlier, but we didn't do that. Now we're going to be taking on Utah in the second round, and this should be an interesting series as well, because one thing that is kind of interesting to note is both teams have former first top 3 picks in the draft from a few years ago. So we have Kari Ristolainen, obviously, who went first overall in 2025, and he's been an amazing player for this team. He's maybe been the best player other than Staubitz. Well, Utah actually has the guy that went second overall in Larmour. If we head on over to their roster, he's their top line center as a 94 overall. He's a little bit older, but yeah, he was the second overall pick that year. He is a sniper, and he's had some fantastic seasons with the Utah Hockey Club. Doesn't seem like he's ever won a Stanley Cup yet, but he has a lot of experience in the playoffs. Just they haven't been able to get it done so far. And like I said, great regular season numbers, over 100 points a lot of years. He also had 127 points one season, which is pretty insane. So this guy definitely a future Hall of Famer, I would assume, in their like at least in the NHL, probably in their team as well in terms of like best player of all time, so to speak. But you can see they have also some great complementary pieces like Cooley, like Joe Ginla. Clayton Keller is still there at 39, which is pretty awesome. He still is doing okay, I think, in terms of production. Yeah, 89 points a season, so he hasn't slowed down quite at all, which is great to see for them. Not really for us. They have Fergus, they have Gunther. Like, their bottom 6 is definitely not as strong as some of the other teams we've seen in playoff scenarios before, so that's a little bit scary because they may be cheese type of players. Their defense, of course, not the strongest on paper, but it's not bad. And then their goaltending situation is also kind of a bit weird. So I definitely think they could be kind of more identified as a cheese team, even though they have a very good top line for the most part, because they don't really have that depth that we do in our lineup at the moment. So hopefully we're able to find a way to beat them and get ourselves to that conference finals again, because if this is the year that we can win a Stanley Cup, I think it's probably our best chance to do so, almost in a way, just because we have probably our best roster we're going to have, because we are still having some guys that are going to be pending free agents this offseason. If we go to all expiring, you can see like Bell's a pending free agent again. We have Doig pending UFA. Like, eventually we're going to start being even more and more tight on cap space. So there is a chance that some of these guys might leave the team this season, and our depth might not be as strong. There might be some guys coming up from the AHL next year, but regardless, we want to have a good playoffs. Gianta's a pending UFA, which is a pretty big one, so we definitely want to have a good run here and try and get that Stanley Cup while we have actually a decent overall goaltender. But he wasn't the best in the first round, so maybe it doesn't really matter what type of goalie we have going forward. But anyways, before we get into this second round matchup with Utah Hockey Club, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. And then we'll get into this Christmas episode and see if we could get a little bit of Christmas magic in the air and win ourselves this second round. So the first comment is from Sound Taku, who says, I'm currently battling a bad case of the flu, so it'd be awesome if you could put out an episode on Christmas, though I totally understand if you aren't willing to or able to do so. And no problem, man. Hopefully you're feeling better soon. I don't think the flu is a great thing to have, especially during the holidays when you should be like enjoying yourself, but hopefully you get better soon, and hopefully this episode gives you at least something to do if you are still sick when this episode goes up. And the last and final comment is from Ryan the Sharky, who says, such an exciting overtime. Hopefully that's the most stressful this playoff run gets. And yeah, that overtime was pretty insane. We had a lot of chances, and I felt like we were going to lose just because their goaltender was keeping them in that overtime. But we managed to just barely get that lucky OT winner. And in Game 7, we were able to get it done. So it was a pretty bare minimum like amount of wins that we got. Like, we barely beat them, probably goals for and stuff like that. I don't remember what the comparison was like. I actually should take a look at that. I think we allowed as much as we scored, if I remember right, around the same. So if we head on over to the Western Conference, you could see we scored 3.57, allowed 3.43. So we literally only scored one more goal than we allowed. So it was definitely a tough defensive series for our team, but the offense was definitely there, and that was the reason why we probably won. So we got a little bit lucky with that. We definitely need to clean up our defensive play and also get a bit stronger goaltending if we want to probably win a Stanley Cup, because if we keep on relying on our offense, eventually it's just going to be quiet, and then we're not going to be able to win. So let's try and get a bit more of an all-around game in terms of our approach here going forward. But anyways, let's get into the second round, see what we are able to do, see if we can win some games. Obviously, we have home ice advantage still, so let's use it to our advantage. Winner of this series will face either Anaheim or LA in the conference finals. Meanwhile, you got Toronto in the Islanders and Ottawa in Florida, which I mentioned in the last episode. Del Monte and Tuzolino are playing each other in that second round in Eastern Conference. So one of those two teams could be going to the Stanley Cup finals this year. One of them will be going to the conference finals regardless. So anyways, game number one, let's see what we could do here. Let's see if we could get that offense continuing to do what it's done in that first round, and if we could play a better defensive structure in front of our goaltending. First period of game one. 3-1 us. Well, that's a great start offensively. I mean, I wasn't expecting to score 3 goals in the first period, but I'll take it. Kolar's on the power play, Verhoff for them, and then Staubitz scores on the power play for us, and then Peterson scores. So our top line's been fantastic so far in this playoffs, and we have been scoring a lot of power play goals. That's one thing that's been a very big factor in this playoff so far for us, is our power play has been fantastic. So far it's doing that here in the second round as well, which is great to see. Shots are 16-8 in favor of us, so we're doubling them up in shots and more than doubling them in goals. Can we find a way to keep this lead intact going into the third period? Second period, 4-2. I mean, that's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. Capaduca made it 4-1, and Buchinger makes it 4-2. Shots are 30-19 in favor of us, so we're definitely outplaying them in terms of the offensive load. So far, Gionta hasn't been super strong. Like, 2 goals on 19 shots isn't terrible, but it's not, like, the best in the world. He definitely was a lot stronger last year in the playoffs, it seems like, at this rate. Let's see if we can lock this one down, maybe get one more goal just to feel a little bit safer, but let's get this third period underway, see if we can hold them off. But so far, so good with this team, which is good to see. Just got to keep it going for multiple games, not just for one game. Large penalty kill there by the boys. It was a 5-on-3 for a little bit, so that's a clutch penalty kill effort right there by the boys. Are we going to lock this down and hold them off? Gunther makes it a 1-goal game, but Heatley answers right back. They answer right back again, but we barely hold them off. That wasn't even an empty net goal by Heatley, but that was a huge goal, or else they could have tied it up in those final 2 minutes. So not the best effort by Gionta. I mean, 4 goals on 33 shots isn't terrible, but we are still allowing a lot more goals than I'd like at the moment. 5 goals on 40 shots for us, so at least our offense was able to get it done. But if we keep on getting into these offensive games, eventually our offense is going to run dry, right? And then we're going to get shut out in games, right? So we got to play a better defensive structure still. Not too sold on that defensive effort from our team. But Kolar's from Staubitz and Arena. We had Staubitz from Ristolainen and Kolar's. Peterson from Hennessy. Capaduca from Doig. And Heatley with the game-winning goal. His first of the playoffs, apparently, from Cashman. I thought Heatley already had goals in this playoff run, but maybe it was last year that I'm thinking of. Can't remember. Any minus people in that game, probably just because we had power play goals, right? Yeah, Hurd was a -2, Hennessy was a -1, same with Norena, Delisle, and Kim. 879 from Gionta. Yeah, I really need better goaltending from him and better defensive play in front of him as well. Staubitz and Kolar's the first 2 stars, and then Furcus for them have 3 assists. Okay. So not a bad first game, but like I said, the defense and the goaltending should do better than that, because we're allowing like a lot of goals every single game. Corso's back for the AHL. I don't remember. Yeah, he was actually injured. Okay. So that's would be where Geisbers was. I don't think we had Patrick as a right wing or as a center though. Let me just go best lines in the AHL for a second. I don't know if they're in the playoffs. I do need to get Sagan in if I can. I don't think I was able to before though. DeVoe has elite potential, so it was Ackerstrom I think that came out for Sagan. Yeah, I think that's good. I don't even know if the AHL team's in the playoffs right now. Are they in the playoffs? No, they are not. I don't think so. So it doesn't even really matter too much. I didn't even really need to address that, but whatever. That's all good. All right. Well, our offense has been good, like I said. We've been scoring like probably around 4 to 5 goals a game still. We're maybe closer to 4 goals a game now. But I just don't like the goals against. Like, I could readdress the defensive core and the goaltending, but right now we're winning games. If our offense starts to dry up and all that stuff too, and we're still playing bad defensively, then we could get into some adjustments. But right now, we've won 3 straight games. And all of them have been pretty close games, so we could have lost them technically, but I would rather just keep it the same for now. So let's do that. And let's get to game number 2 and see if we can continue to hold off Larmour. And if we could play a better defensive game for one of these games at least. First period of game number 2. 2-0 us. Another good start for us. So we've been scoring goals in the first period in this series so far, which is nice to see. Shots are 10-7 in favor of us. Peterson with a power play goal and Delisle scores. So good to see those two guys on the board. So our power play is still fantastic, which is great to see. And yeah, just getting off to a good start here so far in these first 2 games of the series. Hopefully we continue that in next game as well, because that would be really helpful. If we could have the lead going into the second a lot, that will definitely give us a better chance. But obviously, our defensive play is not great, so we need to be sure to have a good second period when we have these type of games. Second period? 4-2. Okay, so the same score as last game going into the third. Foodie made it 2-1. Peterson scores another power play goal to make it 3-1. Larmour scores a power play goal for them to make it 3-2, and then Ristolainen scores for us. So of course, the two of these guys, obviously number 1 and number 2 in that 2025 draft, have to score right after each other. But that's kind of funny. I knew we weren't going to be able to keep Larmour off the score sheet too long, but shots 23-19 in favor of us. We're up by a pair of goals again going into the third. Can we lock this one down in period number 3? Come on, boys. Let's lock her down. Come on, aliens. Power play for us. We do not score on it, but it killed some time off the clock. Penalty kill. Nicely done, penalty killers. The penalty kill has been relatively strong in this series for the most part, it seems like, which is good. Good special teams will help out a lot. Final few minutes, and we are going to hold them off. We win 4-2. We have taken both of our home games, which is absolutely huge. Obviously, we need to win on the road too, but that is a great way to start off this second round. Shots 38-26 in favor of us at the end of it, so we definitely generated a lot more chances than them. So goals were Peterson from Delisle and Doig, Delisle from Kim. We had Peterson from Doig and Capaduca, and Ristolainen from Staubitz. So that one line was doing actually pretty good. Peterson, Doig, and Delisle. I think they're all in the line, if I'm not mistaken. Plus, minuses, any minus people, just Doig, Capaduca, and Norena. All right. And then from a goaltending perspective, Gianton probably had one of his strongest games of this playoff so far with a .923 save percentage. So if we could get that effort from him going forward, that's definitely going to help us out a lot with the defensive play. 3 stars of the game, Peterson, Delisle, and Gianton. Nice. It's nice when other people other than just Staubitz and Ristolainen score, because then it shows at least that we have a little bit of depth to our lineup. Because sometimes it's just a top line does most of the work. So we definitely want to have that offense kind of spread throughout rather than just one line dominating the entire playoffs. All right, well, we're outscoring them 9-6 so far. So it has been still close offensively, but it's probably because of the first game. But I think we got to keep the team the same. We're on a great little note as of late. We've won 4 straight games after that overtime win, of course. Let's keep it rolling and see if we can make it 5 and see if we can win a game on the road as well in the series. Because obviously I think we've had a kind of a tough time on the road here, right? 1 loss so far. Actually, never mind. We've only lost 1 game on the road so far. So we've been a good road team. Let's keep it rolling into round 2. Let's keep it rolling. So here we go, game number 3 as we shift into Utah. Let's see if we can get a win at the Delta Center, I think it's called. I don't even remember what the name of the arena is in Utah. I think it's Delta anyways. But first period, game 3. And it's 1-0 us. So once again, we have the lead after the first period. So that's nice. Delisle opens the scoring. So that line has been pretty good in the series. Shots are 11-10 in favor of Utah. So it's a pretty even game in terms of shots and goals. Can we manage to hold them off in the second period and not let them explode in the second period? Because I have had games where obviously we've had really bad second periods before. So hopefully we can find a way to just keep them off the score sheet. Maybe get a couple insurance markers to make it safer for the third period. But second period, 2-0 us. Okay, so once again we lead by 2 going into the third. It's Delisle again. So Delisle off to a good start in the last few games here. But every single game in the series so far against Utah, we've been up by 2 goals going into the third because we were up 4-2 in game 1 and 2, up in 2-0 here. So it's looking good so far. Shots are 23-19 in favor of Utah, but we're up by a pair of goals. Can we lock this one down in the third period and take a commanding 3-0 series lead? Come on, boys. Let's keep it going. Keep it going. Just need to get one more insurance marker just to feel extra safe. Penalty kill. Nicely done, penalty killers. So we've had another good third period penalty kill as well. Penalty kill again. Don't take too many penalties, though. We kill that off as well. Final few minutes. There's an insurance marker from Whitfield to make it 3-0. Larmore, of course, has to break Gianta's shutout, which kind of sucks. But we are going to be able to take a 3-0 series lead despite them outshooting us 39-27. So Gianta might have found himself these last two games. He makes 38 saves in this victory. That's what I want to see from him going forward if he can. So that's a huge win on the road to give us a chance to go to the conference finals in these next few games if we don't get it next game. So Delisle from Whitfield and Hennessy, Delisle from Whitfield, Whitfield from Peterson and Hennessy. So the depth scoring has been great in this series. Like I said, we haven't had to rely on our top line too much so far. Delisle had multiple points. He had multiple goals, I should say, actually, for that matter. Whitfield had 3 points. Hennessy had 2 points. Peterson's been on a good little stretch as of late, too. These last 2 games, he's got like 3 points. So in general, it just seems like we're getting that depth scoring that we've been looking for, which is nice. So yeah, Whitfield, 3 points plus 3. Hennessy, like, that is great to see. That's what you want to see on your roster. And our top line was minus, but they generated not even a lot of chances on goal, speaking of which. That's kind of weird. Ristolainen only had 2 shots on goal. Kolar's had 1. Stelwitz didn't even generate a shot on goal, so that's okay with me. I mean, if our other lines are going to take over, that's fine. So Gianna, 974 save percentage with a fantastic game. That was really good from him. So Gianna, the first star, Delisle, second star, and Whitfield, the third star. I'm kind of surprised that Whitfield didn't get a higher star than that one, but that's really nice. Very, very nice. So we're 1 win away from going to the conference finals. Hopefully our top line obviously doesn't take too much games off, though, because we do need them to get going eventually. But we're 7-3 so far in the playoffs, and we're 1 win away from facing probably the Los Angeles Kings. And I think, wasn't that the team we played last year in the playoffs in the conference finals? I think it was, right? Yes, it was. Oh, boy. We literally might have a rematch in the conference finals. That's not what I really want to see, but it could be a rematch between us and LA again. Ottawa's up 2-1 on Florida right now, and the Islanders are up 3-0 on the Leafs. Okay? Well, I think we got to keep the team the same. It's been going good so far. We've been getting progressively better defensively as this year's gone on as well. So we've only allowed a total of now 7 goals in 3 games, which is not as bad. And we've scored a total of 12 in 3 games. So we're scoring 4 goals a game and allowing basically like 2.5, something around that, 2.25, something like that. I don't even know exactly, but anyways, we'll keep the rest of this the same, I think. We got to get into this and see if we can pull off the sweep and get ourselves to that conference finals. So let's do that. We've been doing a really good job at shutting down their top players right now, so just got to keep that rolling. So game number 4, still in Utah. Can we pull off the sweep and get to the conference finals against probably the Los Angeles Kings for the 2nd straight year? First period. 2-1 Utah. Okay, not a great start defensively. Mitchell makes it 1-0. Hennessy ties it up for us, and Greentree scores for them. So that Hennessy kind of like line has been really good, and Hennessy's actually been a great call-up so far for the playoffs. Really liking the way he's kind of complemented our lines a little bit here. Shots are 13-7 in favor of us, so we're generating a lot of chances, but so far Hades have a good start for them. Not a great start really for Gianta after especially last game being so good. So hopefully he has a stronger second period, and hopefully we can find a way to at least tie this game up in the second period as well. Second period, 3-3. Okay, that's a great period. That's a great response. Kim makes it 2-2. Aguilera makes it 3-2. And Doig gives us a tie going into the third. Shots are 22-19 in favor of us, so much better second period for us. Let's see if we can find a way to get our first lead of the night, because we have not... Actually, have we led in this game so far? No, we have not led in this game so far, so let's see if we can find our first lead of the night and close out this series as well, potentially. Let's see what happens. Third period underway. Come on, boys. Let's get that next goal. I believe in you. Let Stelwitz or somebody score, because Stelwitz hasn't scored in a bit. I don't even know. Maybe it will be that same line again that Karamov scores for them. That's not great. Can we get that back, though? We have time still on the clock. Can we find a tying goal late in this game? No, we cannot, and we lose this one 4-3. I kind of feel like with these games when they only win by 1, that they could come back in the series, which is a bit scary because if we get reverse swept here, I'm going to be pretty damn pissed off. But that's not a terrible game, but it definitely was a winnable one. Hennessy from Bell and Peterson. We had Kim from Doig and Capaduca, and then Doig from Kim and Capaduca. So I feel like our top line has definitely taken a few games off here, which is not what we want to see. It has been good to see the depth scoring show up, but obviously that top line needs to do a little bit more, and Gianta needs to be more consistent if he can. So Kim is the only one for us that got a star, and that was third star of the game, huh? I don't know if I should make adjustments after one loss, though, considering we won 3 straight before that. Because we were on a little bit of a heater. That's our first loss since this 4-1 loss there. So we were on a nice little 5-game win streak. But now it's come to an end. And now we head to home ice. Do I want to make any adjustments to try and get that top line going? Because it has been a little bit more quiet than I'd like. I don't really like splitting these guys up too much either is the thing. I don't really know who I would put on the top line instead of Kolars if I was to move Kolars down. Because if you look at the stats on the top line, everybody here is around point per game. Ristolainen is just below it, though. I don't want to remove Ristolainen down. He's maybe my favorite player in the series, to be honest. Delisle has been really hot. Same with Peterson and Hennessy, but also Capaduca, Kim, and Doig have been good. Like, Delisle's on 9 points, Peterson's on 8, and then you have Hennessy on 7 points already, which is fantastic. I don't even know if there's any moves I would make. Maybe on the defensive side of things. We are still running the best lines from the coach from last round. Should I get an arena back up here to get the offense going maybe a bit? Maybe that's a little move I'll make. Try and get an arena up there a bit so then he could help maybe get that offense going on that top line. Because obviously having an offensive defenseman up there could help things. So let's try that out and see if that gets that top line scoring some goals. It also might give us a chance to play worse defensively, though, because he's obviously more of an offensive guy. So it is a bit of a risk putting the rain up there, but we'll try it out. Obviously, we could readjust it again in next game, but let's see if it gets our top line going and also helps us close out this series. So LA did sweep the Ducks, so will be a rematch if we win this game. So that's not great because LA's pretty stacked, I think. And then, yeah, Florida, Ottawa are tied, and New York's up 3-1 now. Okay. Well, let's see if we could pull off a win here, or else we would be going to a Game 6 back in Utah a bit, and that's a little bit scary, not going to lie. But first period of game number 5. Can we win this series still? Scoreless. I mean, I'll take that. I mean, it's not any offense, which is not great, but it is a good defensive period. Good response from Gianta after a little bit of a tough game last game. Shots are 9-8 in favor of us, so very even in shots and in goals. Can we be the one to break the deadlock? Second period? Still scoreless. Okay, and even shots as well. Wow. So this is definitely the type of game that could go to overtime based on the shots being dead even and goals being dead even. Anything could really happen in this third period. It could stay scoreless again and then be just a 1-0 final. And if we lose by 1 goal again, I am literally feeling like we could get reverse swept. Because if you lose games by 1 goal multiple times in a row, it's usually around in a reverse sweep, I feel like. But definitely if we could get our top line going here in this third period, that would be fantastic. So let's see what happens in period 3. We're on home ice. Let's use that to our advantage. And let's see if we could find a way to get a win here. Come on, boys. I believe in you. Let's go back to that conference finals and face those LA Kings if possible. And hopefully we could get redemption for them last year, obviously. Final few minutes of this third period, still tied at 0. And we are going to be going to overtime in a 0-0 tie. Shots are 25-24 in favor of us, so still pretty even in the shot department as well. Not really a lot of shots for a 3-period game so far, but it's anybody's game going in overtime. Who do we want to call upon to get us the winner? I don't really care too much on who scores, obviously, for us, but it would be nice to see somebody like Staubitz or Ristolainen score just because our top line has been so quiet as of the last few games. So, who wants to be the hero for us and send us to the conference finals? Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. Let's get that winner. Penalty kill, and Utah wins 1-0 on a Buchinger power play goal. We're going to a Game 6 back in Utah. I am a bit scared we are going to potentially get reverse swept here. Shots were dead even. We get shut out 1-0. So that's not on Giunta. That's just our offense is all of a sudden starting to dry up, which I mentioned earlier. So that's not great. That's definitely a win we should have had. Because we're definitely a good offensive team, but we're starting to slow down offensively now too. As Hayden gets first star for them, Giunta for us, and then Buchinger, of course, the third star. Oh boy, what do we want to do? I feel like we got to make some offensive adjustments here because the top line has taken too much games off as of late. And I also feel like since we won in 7 games, we had some bad plus-minus results, that even more so we could get reverse swept, which is scary. I don't even like that it's creeping into my mind about getting reverse swept, but we got to be resilient here and not let that happen. So what do we want to do here? Let's get it back to our other lines here. Peterson, Kim. We'll go with... Who was the third line center when I was doing it? It was Cashman, and Heatley was fourth line, I guess. Trying to think of what I want to do here. Delisle's been good. Hennessy's been good. I don't really want to move either of them to the third line, no, but I might have to. Capaduca's been not scoring a ton of goals. Delisle is a checking forward. He's been fantastic, though. I feel like Capaduca's been probably the worst than a lot of these other guys. Yeah, I don't really want to do this line adjustment, to be honest, but we might have to do it just for a little thing. Hennessy still lists as a depth forward, but he's been great. Maybe I'll just put him to the fourth line just because of that. I don't know. I don't really like demoting him to the fourth line, but we just need to balance their offense a bit. Wasn't Arena minus in that last game out of curiosity? I didn't even take a look and see. He was not. He was even. All right. He's actually been minus in every game of the series so far. He's a -4. So he has not been playing great defensively. Let's swap him in Whitfield. So Whitfield will be on the top pairing. Arena could play second pairing. And Mahalik could be on that top 6 pairing. Hurd could technically be higher. Is he losing morale? No, not really. It's just more because of his performance. I could get Mark Degg back in the lineup so we could get more physicality, but also that would give us a chance to take more penalties, which I don't like. So I think we'll keep the rest of this the same. So a little bit of adjustments to the offensive core, nothing to the top line, even if the top line's been a little bit problematic. If we lose this again, I will make adjustments to the top line now, which means maybe Kollars goes to the second line. I don't know exactly, but I don't like splitting those guys up too much. They should be able to find themselves eventually, right? So let's get to this next game and see if we can close them out. If we lose this game, we're going to a Game 7 after we're up 3-0. And we've already been to a Game 7, so we are going to be probably a bit tired if we do go to the conference finals in this game or the next game regardless. But can we keep this from going to a Game 7 and find a way to win another game on the road? So far, we've had a pretty decent record on the road, but I'm not too sure what this team is doing right now here. Come on, guys. We lost both games by 1 goal. Let's win this game. Even if it's only by 1 goal, let's just find a way to win it. First period of Game 6. 2-1 Utah. I am not feeling good about our chances here. Karamov scores. Cashman ties it up for us. Lauren Moore gives them the lead with 41 seconds left. Shots are 9-9, and it's a 2-1 game for Utah. So they have been able to score goals on not a lot of shots either. So Giunta's starting to struggle here a little bit in this game. Even though he had a good game last game, he's just been wildly inconsistent. Can we have a good second period here, tied up at least, and maybe have a good chance to win in the third period? Second period? 3-1 Utah. Oh boy, this is not good. We might be going to a Game 7. Jager Furka scores on the power play. Shots are 25-12 in favor of them, so we're not even generating chances at this point now. Well, we need to have a strong third period here, else we're going to a Game 7 after we look like we are going to potentially sweep them. Goddamn reverse sweeps might actually happen. It's not good. I guess we're not finding that offensive groove we had. Our top line has taken way too many games off as well. We pull within 1 Heatley. Okay, can we tie it up though? We do still have time. Come on, guys. Show me that you can win this game. And we're going to lose by 1 goal for the 3rd straight game. See what I mean? When you're getting reverse sweep, it's usually all these losses are only by 1 game or goal. So we're going to Game 7 back on home ice after we look like we were going to cruise ourselves into the conference finals. So Cashman from Arena and Doig and Heatley from Whitfield. But damn, man, that top line is really taking a lot of games off. Like, I feel like most of them haven't had points in like 4 straight. Oh man, game 7. Why are we going to a game 7? We should have already been in the conference finals at this point. Oh man, we are going to go best lines for a second, and I'm going to readjust the top line because it's been too quiet as of late. Like, Kolar's, let me take a look at your stats over the last few games here. He hasn't had a point since game number 1 of the series, which is pretty damn crazy. We have Ristolainen, who has not had a point since game number 2 of the series. He's only got the 1 goal, 1 assist in the series, just like Kolar's. And then Stelbitz hasn't had points as well since game 2. So all these guys have taken 4+ games off. And all of them only have like 2 to 3 points in the 6-game series so far. So I'm trying to think of what we could do in terms of adjustments. I think we will move Doig to the top line. Kolar's will obviously be on the second line. And we might honestly go back to our original third line that I was running before, which is this line. I like that Peterson, Hennessy, Delisle line a lot. So I think we'll run with that. Heatley, Cashman, and Lambert is the fourth line. And then from a defensive standpoint, we'll just run the original defensive core it gave us, which is Narain on the top 6. And then from a goaltending perspective, I mean, Gionta has been better in this round. Let's be real. We will probably just keep him in net, so Lee should probably be playing. He is probably, yeah, he's losing morale. I don't really know if I should put Lee in, though, because we need our offense to get going. It's not our defense, really, so I'll keep him scratched, but this is pretty rough that we're going to game 7. Pretty damn rough. I think the rest of this will stay the same, though. I could even put in Dag if I want to, but I feel like he's going to just take too much penalties at a wrong time, so this is going to be our lineup going into game 7. Are we going to get reverse swept, or are we going to just barely edge out the series again? And of course, after, what was it, Ryan commented in the last episode, he said that hopefully that's the most stressful this playoff run gets. Well, this is more stressful probably than that overtime scenario we had before Chicago, because we should not be in a spot where we're going to a game 7 again. Our team just has trouble closing out these series, I guess. But can we survive the collapse and get ourselves to the conference finals against the Kings? It will be the Islanders, and Ottawa and Florida are going to game 7 as well. So Tuazolino and Del Monte, one of them will be going to the next round soon. But can we go to the next round? Because we don't really care too much about them. We care about our team. Can we survive the reverse sweep? Come on, guys. I believe in you. Let's get Stelbitz going. Let's get all those dudes going. Keller opens the scoring immediately for them. That's not a good sign. And Gunther scores as well on Gionta. Oh my goodness, guys. We're literally going to get reverse swept. I haven't had a reverse sweep happen in a while. We do pull within 1 right away, so maybe we have a chance to still win this game. Zach Hurd. All right. Let's get that next one, though, because the next goal is probably the most important goal of this game and this series, for that matter. We have shot them 15-8, but we're down by a goal. 2 goals against on 8 shots. Yeah, Gianna's definitely been not as good this year. So I'm honestly not too sure if we should bring him back in the offseason at this point. Because Harakala could technically take the starting job, but he would be a lot lower over an overall than Gionta currently is. But, oh man, this is not good so far. But at least we're within 1. We need to have a strong second period here. Let's see what happens. This is a big 20 minutes. Let's tie this game up here, boys. Power play for us. We do tie it up in its Ristolainen, and he finally has scored a goal. Hadn't scored since game 2, but that's a big goal from Ristolainen. We honestly might watch the third period of this game, potentially. Yeah. Oh, we do take the lead. Okay, I was looking down, and then, of course, they tied it right back up. Heatley gave us the lead for a little bit. Verhoff scored for them, but Cashman gives us back the lead. We're up by a goal going into the third. Shots are 27-23, so another very close game here in Game 7, just like we had against Chicago. The question now is, can we get insurance and hold them off? We know they have offensive capability. We just got to hold them off for 20 more minutes, and we can find ourselves in the conference finals. But the fact that we've gone to 2 Game 7s already, we're definitely going to be quite tired going up against the Kings team that just swept that second round, so if we somehow find a way to win that is. Can we find a way to win this game? Real-time simulation in the third. Can we hold them off? Come on, guys. Hey, Lambert. Okay, immediately into the third. That's a big goal. Staubitz is on the board too. Good to see the top guys going at this right time. We're up by 3 goals. It looks like to me, I'm bearing a big collapse, that we are actually going to be going to the conference finals. We have a flair for the dramatic. We were up 3-0, and then we end up going to a game 7. But we ain't going to reverse swept tonight. We ain't getting reverse swept tonight. So that's a huge, huge win. And we will be going to face the Kings for the 2nd straight year. Final shots 40-28. We win by 3 goals. And our big guys showed up at the right time. So they definitely have a flair for the dramatic, but we get it done. Hurd from Heatley, Ristolainen from Kohlers and Kim, Heatley from Tulipov and Cashman. We had Cashman from Lambert and Heatley, Lambert from Hurd, and Staubitz from Ristolainen and Doig. So a lot of lines getting work done, especially that Heatley line, it seems like. Yeah, Heatley 3 points, Cashman had 2 points, Lambert had 2 points, Hurd as well, and Ristolainen on 2 points, and a bunch of guys on 1 point. And look at the plus minus on Lambert, +4. So the 4th line really did a lot of work. Those guys got under 8.5 minutes, some of them. Cashman only played 8:27, Heatley only 8:29, and had 3 points. And Lambert had 9 minutes. So the depth was fantastic in that game. And then the goaltending from Gionta, still not very good, but we managed to escape again and barely get it done. So Heatley the 1st star, Cashman the 2nd star, and Lambert the 3rd star. So what a big effort from that line, getting it done to send us to that next round. Let's go. All right, let's take a look at some player stats after that round, and then we'll see what the LA Kings are looking like, of course, and we'll obviously take a look at some of the playoff matchups as well. But in terms of, actually, I shouldn't go to team stats yet. We want to take a look at that when we get to the Kings roster and all that. But player stats, let's see what we got here for the run so far. Staubitz on 14 points. He's been inconsistent, but he's point per game. Ristolainen under point per game at 12. Same with Kohlers. Doig on 11 points, but a -5 somehow. Yikes. Delilah on 9 points. That 3rd line was really good in that round. Like, our depth was the main reason why we won this series, because our 3rd line and 4th line did a lot of legwork for this team. Kim's been kind of quiet. 6 points in 14 games on the top 6. Huh. Interesting. Lambert's played 10 games, has 2 points. All right. What about defense? Narain on 8 assists. He's only a -1, which isn't terrible. Whitfield on 7 points, but 3 of them are in 1 game. We're getting some offense from the back end, which is good to see. And look at the plus minus on Marek Mahalik. Good stuff. And from a goaltending perspective, Gianna's on a 907, so it is definitely better than it was after the 1st round, but he still has been pretty inconsistent, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that entire round literally went 879, 923, 974, 862, 960, 923, 893. That's very weird. All right, so there is our player stats after round 2. Let's advance so we can get that confirmation that it's the Kings. And there we have it. Yes, the LA Kings, 44, 33, and 5. Are they another cheese team? Are they another cheese team? I think last year they were a cheese team too, but they got it done, which is scary. But it will be Ottawa and the Islanders in the conference finals. So Del Monte finds himself in the conference finals in the East, which means Tuzolino in his $20 million contract couldn't make it to round 3, apparently. Interesting. All right, let's take a look at how the LA Kings simulated during the regular season and how they've simulated so far during the playoffs. Then we'll take a look at the roster. It's probably not much different from last year, but I'm not too sure. So Western Conference. They were the 7th seed. They had 93 points. They scored they only scored 237 goals. They scored almost 100 less goals than us. We scored 330. That's kind of crazy. They allowed the exact same amount that they scored too, which is kind of crazy. So they were a good defensive team in the regular season, but offense was quite quiet. Power play percentage, their power play was worse by almost 10% too. And penalty kills 8% worse pretty much. All right. 7-3 in their last 10 games going into the playoffs. Let's take a look at playoff stats. I bet they have better offense now in the playoffs if they've won games. So they're 8-2 so far. So they might end up doing what like the LA Kings did in, I think it was 2012 or 2014, obviously. that they were like the 8th seed and they still just dominated and won the cup. I can't remember which of the 2 years it was, but I remembered them doing that. But they are scoring 4.4 goals for per game, which is a lot. So their offense is much better than the regular season. They're still allowing the same amount around that they did in the regular season. So they're good defensively, and they have that offensive touch now. Their power play is way worse than ours. Our power play is 29.7%. So we've been getting very good power play results. And their penalty kill is better than ours at 93%. So, interesting. Interesting. They've had a good little run up to this point, to this conference finals. So, let's take a look at the roster. We'll actually take a look at how we did against them during the regular season as well. We'll probably beat them both games likely, just because of the record, but I'm not too sure. So, LA, what do we got for the Kings? Is it the exact same roster as last season, or is there any differences really? Ryan Rubrick. Was he there last year? I feel like he was. I don't remember. He was, okay. So Ryan Rubrick. They also have Josiah Holtby. I remember him. Ola Svedberg, I think, was there last season too. Yes, he was. So that's their top line. Second line, Jace Hernandez. I think I remember him. Gaspard Mercier, I think I remember. And Quinton Byfield still playing at 35. He's getting used as a left winger. All right. Third line, Jacob Prince. That name I think is new. Nope, he was there last season. I just don't remember him from last year in the playoffs for some weird reason. They also have Trent Knubel. I remember him. Marco Rajala, I don't think was there. Yeah, he was in the AHL last season, apparently. Lowly that was drafted in the second round. And a fourth line of Wayne Smith. Is he new? Yeah, he's new from the AHL as well. So they have a couple guys from the minors. And there is Neil McNeil. I forgot about Neil McNeil. He actually is in their lineup this season. Last year he was a scratch. So Neil McNeil, his full season this year, 42 points, 25 goals. So far in the playoffs, only 3 goals and 4 points. But there's the meme, Neil McNeil. And then there's also Moises Tham, who must be new as well. Yeah, from Ontario. So they have a couple of guys from the AHL, Smith, Rajala, and Tham, but very similar to last season, at least on the offensive side of things. From a defensive standpoint, Lincoln Antonio, I think I remember him. Mohamed Chiodu, I think I remember him. Yes. Okay, good. Bo Aki, I think he was there last season too. Yes, he was. They also have Dylan Andreoff. He's a new guy. Was drafted only 3 years ago and was also in the AHL and NHL briefly last season. Wasn't in the playoffs last year, though. So he played most of the regular season, then got sent down, it looks like, when they made a trade. They also have Ahmed Burgundy. He's definitely new. Don't remember a Burgundy yet from the AHL. And they also have Jack Thompson. So I think he was new too. Yeah, they have a lot of new faces kind of on this roster. Interesting. What about goaltending? Jackson Strudwick, we know he's good, and they do still have Brody Homers to back up. So the goaltending's the exact same. We know Jackson Strudwick is a beast. Really good regular season numbers over the last few years. Playoffs, he's been very good as well these last 2 years. Last year, he had a 929. So far, he's 8-1-1. So one of their losses was in overtime, and he's got a 931. So Strudwick is really good. And then Homer has probably... Homer was actually playing some year last year in the playoffs, right? Yeah, he hasn't played at all this year, but he took over when Strudwick was briefly injured. I forgot about that. And then they have depth. They have Jeremy Poirier, who's dropped down to a 73. They also have Chance Aros, who is apparently injured. Was he playing for them this year in the playoffs? He was playing 9 games. Was playing good defensively. And they also have Joshua Manderville. So I don't feel like they have still the best depth, and I can see why they didn't finish that great during the regular season. But they had a really good playoff run last year. Went to the finals. I don't think they won, though. Yeah, they didn't win last year in the finals. So it is a bit scary that they're a good team like that in the playoffs. And yeah, hopefully we do not find a way to lose to them for the second consecutive year. Final thing I want to take a look at is their player stats so far in the playoffs, just because I am kind of curious on who has been driving their offense. Actually, should take a look at the calendar as well for when we played them during the regular season as well, if I'm not mistaken. We should do that. So they're getting some good offense from a lot of guys over point per game. But mostly on the offensive side of things. Their plus minus is obviously good because they've been getting good goaltending results as well. Yeah, okay. So they've been getting some good results. Final thing I want to take a look at is how we did against them during the regular season. So when did we play them in the regular season is the question. Let's go to calendar here. and just see what we did against them in the regular season. I don't want you to take a look at the box scores. I could do that in the next episode if you guys want me to, but might as well prime up this matchup a little bit better. We lost the first game we played against them 2-1. So they weren't the best team during the regular season, but they had a good defensive game against us and shut us down, which is kind of scary. So we were 0-1 against them there. Wasn't even an overtime loss. Our second meeting with the Kings was a 4-1 loss, so we only scored 2 goals against them in those 2 meetings. What about, is there a third meeting or no? There is a third meeting here at the end of the season, almost March. 1-0 loss. We literally scored 2 goals against them in 3 games. Holy crap, that's not good. So we could not score for shit on them. No wonder. I mean, they were a really good defensive team in the regular season, so it makes sense, but 2 goals as a team against them in 3 games. That's pretty damn rough. That's pretty damn rough. Like, who was the 2 goal scorers? Probably like Staubitz and stuff like that, I would assume, right? Like, if we go to Staubitz and look at game log or split stats, how did he do against the LA Kings during the regular season? 1 goal, yeah, he had one of our goals. Not really a surprise. I would assume it'd be somebody else in the top line that had the other goal. But regardless, we need to find a way to get scoring against them, of course. Regular season doesn't really mean anything, but it's still kind of scary that we weren't able to score a lot against them. 3 games played, 13 shots on goal for Ristolainen against them, but he could not score a single goal against them in the season. So, oh wow, I didn't even realize the penalty minutes. In the playoffs, Ristolainen has 33 penalty minutes in 14 games. So, maybe Risto's taking a bit too much penalties here. 3 of them have been fights, though. So that means a total of 15 of them from fighting. But Risto's getting anxious, and he wants to win a Stanley Cup. Well, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll have a rematch with the LA Kings, who were technically, I would say, considered a cheese team. They didn't have the best record during the regular season, but they had great defensive numbers. They beat us in all 3 meetings. And they have some pretty solid players on their offensive core, but they definitely aren't super strong. But they did go to the finals last season as well. So it is a bit scary going up against a team like this. So hopefully we get redemption on them in the next episode and get ourselves to a Stanley Cup Finals. And hopefully we have a chance to win that Stanley Cup this season. So say something down below, and I'll see you guys next time.